Okay, guys, welcome again. I'm going to walk you through the Microsoft licensing update for March 2021. It will be a bit different this time than what you're usually used of from me, because with the new product terms website, the overview has gotten, in my opinion, a bit better. The redlining is still quite difficult to figure out, but I'm going to run you through that, and let's dive into it. So if you look at the updates, let me show you how you are able to see a Redline version. So what you do is you select the effective date. It's currently set to the March 1st product terms. If you want to be able to redline anything, select a previous version. And if we do that by selecting the EA and enterprise agreement, the enterprise subscription agreement, you will be able to get the summary or the redline version. So immediately you notice that this pops up showing terms from February 1st, 2021, and then you can say compare with current. Well, then you see this red line here, and that's what we're going to use. But first, let me go back to present day, because when the present day, it shows you the changes that are there now. And then I'll select here the previous version like this, so that we can get into it. So if I open the, for instance, the audio services entry now, you should be able to see that I can compare with current. And this means that if you see anything that has a strike through, that's a removal, and any additions are listed in green. So for audio conferencing, there's been some update to the terms. And the main update that they have done is not for the enterprise agreement, but it's for the business voice usage, which is a part of the lower, smaller volume licensing types. If we go to the second one, the GitHub terms, there's quite some changes happening here. GitHub Insights, they removed the option that it doesn't apply to the enrollment for education solution customers. They updated some service-specific terms and some language differences, but the biggest update here is the GitHub Enterprise Cloud. If you license for GitHub AE, you're able to access the GitHub Enterprise Cloud by using GitHub Enterprise Cloud. You agree to be bound by the GitHub Enterprise Cloud terms, which are available via this link that you see here on the screen. And if you're a user of this service, do check it out. Any notices that you want to send to GitHub have a different department than Microsoft itself. It can be done via email or by postal mail, whatever suits your fancy. They removed some clauses on GitHub Actions and Packages and GitHub AE. Going back here, the Microsoft Azure services. What you see here is that they updated a clause, and I need to have it load correctly here for Azure Dev Test pricing. You may be eligible for Azure Dev Test pricing for Azure services accessed by one, a qualified licensed user solely for development and test purposes, and two, its users performing acceptance tests and providing feedback related to those development and test activities. Qualified licensed users means users allocated Visual Studio subscriptions or MSDN platform subscriptions with active software assurance. So this is a good addition, in my opinion, because what you see here is kind of what used to be a gray area. So if you had users performing tests, they didn't specify for Azure Dev and Test VMs or other dev test products if you could access them if you weren't licensed with an MSDN subscription or Visual Studio subscription with software assurance. So with this, they clarified it. If you have users doing acceptance testing that do not have an MSDN license, they can still access these environments. So you're able to benefit from preferable Azure pricing in the event that you have these types of acceptance tests. Going towards Microsoft 365, quite a few changes and additions here. They removed the experts on demand from the list because it's called Microsoft Threat Experts now, experts on demand. An addition that was already done early in February was the addition of Microsoft Viva Topics, a new product. The Viva is something that Microsoft is, well, pulling out all the plugs. They're all Teams plugins. They're additions to Microsoft 365, so they won't be included in, for instance, your E3 or E5 subscriptions. They're standalone services. This is the first of these services that they're going to release, and you have some license prerequisites for it. So if we scroll down a bit further, first thing you see is that they renamed the Experts on Demand to Microsoft Threat Experts, Experts on Demand. And you see in the license prerequisites what type of licenses you should have in order to be able to use Microsoft Threat Experts, Experts on Demand. And basically, it's the Defender for Endpoint license, a Windows 10 Enterprise E5 license, or a Microsoft 365 E5 license. Additional qualifying licenses are F5 Security and Compliance and F5 Security. These are the new license types. F5 Security and Compliance has been released a couple of weeks ago, or last month maybe. And initially, you were able to buy a license for Microsoft 365 F5 Compliance, Security, or Security and Compliance in total if you had an M365 F1 or F3 license. They've qualified this to state that if you have all of the components of the M365 suite, so Microsoft Office 365 F3, Enterprise Mobility and Security E3, and Windows 10 Enterprise per device, or E3, you are able to buy a license for Microsoft 365 F5 Security and Compliance. And here you see for Microsoft Viva Topics that you would need a Microsoft 365 Business Basic or Standard or Business Premium F1, F3 license, or an Office 365 F3, E1, E3, or E5 license, or a SharePoint Online license. And if we scroll further, we see there are no other additions here. Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365 services, I won't go into it because the change here seems quite self-explanatory. There's a rebranding of the Dynamics 365 IoT service to Sensor Data Intelligence add-in. Now, Microsoft Power Platform. If we have a look at the Power Platform entry, then we see at the bottom that they removed the unauthenticated external users clause. And this used to state that external users not authenticated by Power Apps do not need a user subscription license to access Power Portals. They had to remove it, and it's due, they state, to the technical enforcement of the licensing. So apparently you would actually need a license as it's enforced by the system in order to have external unauthenticated users access your environment. What does it mean? Apparently this means that you need to buy licenses for these users. I hope they're going to clarify, clarify this further, because right now you really don't need to license external users for the Power Platform service offering. So I'm very curious to see how that goes. So with the, moving on with the new Microsoft 365 E5 or F5, sorry, Security and Compliance Suite, they removed the Security and Compliance promotion for Microsoft 365 F1 and F3. Now, this promotion was quite a beneficial one, where the pricing was very low. The actually released available pricing for Microsoft 365 F5 security and compliance is very high in my opinion. So I would expect in the future that there's going to be some changes to this pricing model, because I don't think it compares and it doesn't weigh up to some of the competition in the market, if you ask me. Finally, Windows Desktop Operating System won't jump into the details as well, but they've added South Africa and United Kingdom to the list of countries for purchase eligibility for Windows 10 Home to Pro upgrade from Microsoft 365 Business Premium. And they added United Kingdom to the list of countries for purchase eligibility for Windows 10 Home to Pro right licensing for E3 and E5. So if you're in these areas, South Africa and the United Kingdom, these might benefit your organization. Now, that was it for me for today for this licensing update. We do hope that you follow our YouTube channel and follow our LinkedIn page. We do like to make these movies, keep you updated and keep you in the know. If you found anything interesting that was changed in the product terms that wasn't in this video, do let me know, and we'll be sure to add this to the comments section as well. See you guys. Bye.